Israel breaking news today. I stood with Israel, and my students rioted. After this is how we became one. No one should ever have to go through what I did. It was terrifying and awful, and it happened in a school facility. We strive to teach our students that life is not always black and white. As Jews, we can feel sorrow and horror at the horrific events of October 7th, when Hamas attacked Israel, resulting in the deaths of hundreds of Israelis and, as the conflict continues, thousands of innocent Palestinians. We have the power to end the Israeli hostage crisis and end the hunger in Gaza by demanding humanitarian supplies. We have the power to stand up for free speech and reject bigotry. We have the power to grant both peoples the freedom, security, and autonomy they deserve. Our inherent humanity, however, is not debatable. Both the students and the adults who teach them should keep that in mind. Hillcrest High School teacher Karen Martyr and I were among many who mourned the loss of life in the 2 days following the Hamas massacre, the worst atrocity against Jews since the Holocaust. Especially upsetting to me, Karen, was the news of the rape, torture, and murder of young people at a music festival. Both my own young adult children and the thousands of students I had taught over the past 20 years shown this same enthusiasm for life. Sharing a photo of myself with a sign that stated, "I stand with Israel," I shared it on Facebook. My dearly loved students would react horribly to such deed in the hours following the Hamas attacks. A number of Karen's pupils demanded a riot against her after sharing images of the image. Hundreds of her pupils attempted to storm her classroom on November 20th, yelling obscenities, threats, and demands for her dismissal. Even though Karen wasn't physically there, she kept an eye on the action on the screens and even caught a glimpse of several student-made videos that became viral on the internet. In a tragic twist of fate, her lesson plan for the day of the incident was to address hate crimes. "We believed our son was alive for 5 months. The United States must release the prisoners. Rescue the hostages held by Hamas and end our suffering for others." I had a meeting with my class to discuss the common humanity we all have. "Hello, Karen." It was an option for me to switch schools. I chose to stay so that I could make connections, listen, learn, dispel myths, and fight bigotry. My Palestinian friend who was also a teacher and I had a student meeting the day I got back to school. In response to their inquiries, I expressed how I was feeling. I helped students relate to my and their own humanity by restating the nasty, threatening, and false things they had said during the riot and on social media. After what had happened, some of my classmates embraced me and expressed their regret. Returning to work was challenging for me. No one should ever have to go through what I did. It was terrifying and awful, and it happened in a school facility. It will take time to recuperate from that pain and the press that surrounded it. But I returned because I was certain of one thing: I needed to have a conversation with my pupils. I had to explain my post's context and timing so they could grasp its meaning. Hamas negotiations have stalled. What my kid knows about the negotiations between Israel and Hamas that Netanyahu, the prime minister, doesn't. Pay attention. I couldn't help but. I needed to know their background and the signals they were taking in. I had to do more than just be present. I had to allay their anxieties and clear up their confusion. Even though some of them acted inappropriately, I had to prove to them that I would not flee. They had to witness my persistence in returning to show them that I would not abandon them. However, having those discussions was not a picnic. Restoring lost trust takes time and effort. Forgiveness, attentive listening, owning up to mistakes, and embracing uncomfortable emotions are just a few of the many things that teachers should demonstrate for their students. We need not depict matters in a simplistic, right or wrong manner. Humans have the remarkable ability to see subtleties, nuances, and similarities within diversity. As a teacher dealing with the complex issues of both my pupils and the school system, this is what gives me optimism for the future of the conflict between Israel and Palestine. Peace, diplomacy, and human decency are alternative ways forward for all people. We have the power to set our students on that path as educators. Fear has gripped the public as incidents of bigotry against Jews and Muslims have increased in frequency and intensity over the past several months, and as racial, sexual orientation, and gender identities have been the targets of culture wars. Educators constantly tell us this. Karen's response and experience point to a solution. All individuals, regardless of their identity, should be able to feel safe and welcome in schools, free from physical aggression. Education has the power to cultivate empathy. That is why anti-Semitic and anti-Arab hate crimes should not go unpunished. That is not enough, though. Of course, the goal of education is to gain knowledge, but there is more to knowing than just rote memorization. It necessitates reasoning critically, empathizing with others, and learning about and respecting different viewpoints and cultures. Hello, Karen. No, I remain visible. People also shouldn't. There needs to be action, not inaction, if something is about to happen. That is what David Banks, the Chancellor of the New York City School District, has promised to do, and that is what Karen's union, the United Federation of Teachers, did in the days leading up to the riot. We have a responsibility to use our right to free speech in a responsible manner in our public schools and plazas, to reject bigotry, prejudice, and false information, and to encourage civil discourse on all subjects, including but not limited to controversial ones. A peaceful resolution to this most intractable of disputes, based on our common humanity and empathy, is within reach, and Karen's actions shine a light on this possibility. Martyr lives and works in Queens, New York, where she teaches. The American Federation of Teachers president is Randy Weingarten.